Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to President Trump, is in focus. And her new book is out, titled Here's the Deal. And she always tells us what the deal is. We're glad she's in focus today. Kellyanne, let's just start there. So the war in Ukraine, Russia invading Ukraine, is just over 100 days, right? The president has been in office more than 365. Not a lot of math you have to do to figure out that prices have doubled since he took office and where the blame and responsibility should be.
There's no question, and everybody's polling reflects the same thing. Talk about math. The numbers could not be more plain, and they're coming from the same mainstream media that worked overtime to make sure Joe Biden got to the White House. Between the palace intrigue stories about infighting, lack of continuity of staff in the White House, such an exodus of senior staffers, including, if not especially, from the vice president's office, the infighting about who's to blame for these devastating poll numbers, NBC News, Politico, CNN, all writing stories this last week, and their polls show the same thing, Harris, which is a searing indictment of Joe Biden's inability to be a man with a plan. If he would just stand up and say the following: Americans, these are tough times. We've made some mistakes. We're trying to get out of it. We're American. We're resilient. Things will get better. Here's my plan. They don't do that. And the 10 scariest words every weekend are the president and vice president have nothing on their public schedules. They are so disconnected from the American people. They don't even show up at a small business. They don't give a speech. He literally goes to the beach. Vice President Harris is nowhere on the weekends. Look at her public schedule, America. You pay for her, and she's really nowhere on the weekends in terms of her official duties. So I've never seen polling numbers so significantly, so abundantly clear about what Americans want a president and the democratically controlled Washington to do for them, Harris. If it's 28 and 27% approval on gas prices and inflation, think about the tripartisan breakdown of those numbers. Obviously, big majorities of Republicans and independents in the center saying they disapprove of Biden's handling of inflation and gas prices, their number one issue. But it's only about 56% of Democrats saying they approve of his handling of inflation, 51% on gas prices. So even members of his own party are saying, wake up, Joe Biden, tell us what's happening. All these reports now, he's upset that there aren't enough people on TV talking on his behalf, that they're cosseting him. It's not a messaging problem, folks, it's a fact problem.
Well, but wait a minute. Let's just look at the weekend. You had all those aides, Kellyanne, out trying to defend him. It is almost defenseless.
That's
so
right.
It's not that he doesn't have enough people. He doesn't have enough people that can actually talk sense about what doesn't make any sense.
That's right. Harris, this weekend, seeing all of his advisors out there, some of them playing cover-up for themselves and doing a little mea culpa, it reminded me of what I always like to tell people, which is, remember, nobody on TV is ever under oath. I mean, they're basically lying to the American people the way the White House does from the podium routinely. Inflation was not transitory. The border surge was not seasonal. Everything in Afghanistan was not going well. Americans indeed were stranded behind enemy lines. And I think that chaotic and deadly withdrawal from Afghanistan almost a year ago, Harris, was the inflection point for many Americans. But they can also forgive a president one error or two errors if they feel their own pocketbook issues and personal liberties are being attended to, and they're simply not. And so presidents need to take accountability. Look, I write in my book, Here's the Deal, the New York Times #1 bestseller, that, Harris, I write in there that even when President Trump had logs thrown in his path, when there were investigations and subpoenas, he kept focused. We kept pushing the boulder up the hill, even though they were pushing it back on us. And at this point in his presidency, there was the regulatory relief. He had already passed a Tax Cut and Jobs Act. He was working on energy independence, on judges that don't think the Constitution is a paper towel, but think it's the law of the land. And so you can point to specific examples.
Right.
And even when he was getting things wrong, he'd say, we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to work a little hard on this, that. We'll table that for later. We just don't see course correction from this White House. That's what Americans want to see.
Where I would agree with you is the messaging was consistent. You know, I don't know what all was going on behind the scenes and what policies you necessarily wanted to push or put messaging out on. But in this administration, the messaging is messy, which is why you have a cleanup while the president goes to the beach, because they tend to collide, and you can't have them all out at the same time. Just take a look at last week and the week before. I want to get to this. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff now is taking on Republicans, saying that they actually want high inflation. Let's watch together.
I think, sadly, the Republicans are getting in our way because they would rather have the issue of inflation than really do something about it to help the country. And this is what we're confronting in Congress and what the administration is battling against.
So trying to flip the switch, does that work?
No, and in fact, it proves to me that the Democrats still have not learned what those 74 million Trump voters really want and expect. They are suffering. So many Americans are suffering. And, you know, we never deeply examine that which we deeply disdain. And that's true of Adam Schiff and the Democrats right now. They don't want to learn what is vexing and perplexing so many Americans. Nobody wants these prices to be high, but it's Joe Biden and Adam Schiff's fault that they are. Talk about somebody who lies for a living on TV. There he is, this guy who said Russia collusion, evidence is overwhelming. They wasted 3 years, and we still got great policies passed anyway. Think about this administration. The Democrats, they control everything in Washington, the House, the Senate, and the White House. They don't have the mainstream media throwing logs in their path everywhere they go. They don't have these subpoenas and investigations everywhere they look, Harris, and they still can't get the job done. So they always want to play the blame and name shame game. It's not working now because everybody's polls says the same exact thing, that people feel very nervous about their current economic situation, and moving forward, Harris, they project an awful lot of pessimism, not just for the nation's economic wherewithal, but for their own financial situation. People are nervous and scared, and they want representatives like Adam Schiff and Joe Biden to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you put it makes it sound pretty simplistic, that transparency that the country was promised, particularly with President Biden. I don't know if anybody's hanging on Adam Schiff's every word, but people do want to hear from the guy who spends a lot of time, almost 30%, down in his home state of Delaware. Kellyanne Conway, congratulations. Here's the Deal, a bestseller on New York Times list. Great to have you in focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris. All the best.